Today's video is a requested video on makeup expiration dates and also my spreadsheet system of how I keep track of what I have so I make sure I don't buy duplicates. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I'm wearing a purple lipstick right now and I put like 3 different eyeshadows on the top of it. That reminds me of like fruit or something. I don't know, I like it. So first let me address makeup expiration dates. If you're not aware, every product that you purchase is going to have an expiration date on it. Products only last so long after you initially open it, and the stability of the ingredients in that product also have a shelf life. Only products regulated as over-the-counter drugs, like sunscreens, acne treatments, are going to have official expiration dates stamped onto them. So something like this is my Jean Marini sunscreen. Right here at the top, it says expiration of 7/2016. If you guys can see, here it is right at the top here. Most beauty products are going to go based on a PAO system, which is period after opening. You will see that marked on your beauty products with an open jar typically, and there'll be M, which stands for months, and then the time frame. So 24 months is 2 years after you open them. This is a European standard, so any product that is sold in Europe will have it, and any product obviously that's a US manufacturer that sells overseas too will have that same marking. While some of them might not have it directly on the product, they will all definitely have it on the outer packaging then. So if you accidentally threw that away, you can always go back online and look the product up and it'll have it listed there. Although it's not 100% sure bet of when you should throw these away, it's a pretty accurate guideline. Now, I'll get into in a minute some products that obviously I've had some past what the expiration date is, but I will explain why. And in no way am I condoning it. I mean, do what you feel comfortable with. If a product seems discolored, runny, it has an odor to it, it's lumpy or separated, or it's not performing like it once did, it's likely time to toss it out. If the packaging has warped or deteriorated, or if it's expanded, anything like that, like you can kind of tell, like if it looks like swollen, you know, if you leave something out in the sun and it kind of expands, well, that's normally because not only is the plastic melting, but gases and things inside are warping it, which is like not good. So a product doesn't have to be expired for it to go bad. Like if you've contaminated something with bacteria, if you've left it out in the sun and the products are now breaking down, it's probably time to toss them as well. So just pay attention to your products. I mean, you'll know if you use something every single day and then you leave something on the dashboard of your car and you go to use it and it has like a rancid smell, immediately throw it out. Do not try to continue to use it. As a rule, products that contain more water are the ones to go bad first because water encourages bacteria growth in them. Products that are also more susceptible to break down faster are products that contain plant extracts in them. So anything that you see that says pure extracts or plant tea or anything like that is more likely to break down a little faster as well. Now, products made up of almost no water, like powders, are the ones that are going to last the longest because no bacteria can grow without the water there. Why powders are going to obviously have an expiration date on them as well, as they can start to perform differently. And if you are contaminating this, like say you don't clean your makeup brushes very often and you have bacteria all over them and you're continually dipping them in here, you'll start to notice the tops of the powders will get like a crusty hard layer on top, or it'll start to look discolored. That's from oils and bacteria. You can take a piece of tape on them and kind of remove that top layer to help preserve them longer. Now, here's another thing. While it's great to be organic and chemical free, typically products labeled as preservative free are going to be the first to go. And that is because there is not one natural preservative that can keep out all pathogens. You do need a synthetic preservative to sustain the ingredients over a long period of time. So something like this MAC lip liner. The expiration date is not on here, but on the packaging it was. So I could just go online and look it up to see what it is. Here is an example right here with that 24, with the M24 on a NARS eyeshadow. The products that I take extra caution with that I do not hoard or keep for long periods of time are mascaras, typically eyeliners as well, because anything that is in your eye, I have had an ulcer in my eye before, and it's not from makeup, it was from contacts actually. one night. I fell asleep with contacts in my eyes for one night, and I got an ulcer in my eye. It was pretty horrible, and I could not see right. It was like I had to wear really thick contact in my eye. It felt like every time I blinked, it felt like sand was in my eye, scratching it. And it was pretty horrible. I had to wear a thick contact in my left eye for about 3 months. I couldn't really see right out of it. It looked like I was seeing out of gauze. It was horrible, and there was a potential that I wouldn't get my vision completely back in my eye, which I do have it back now, thank God. But you do have to be really careful when you're dealing with your eyes. Like people that wear these huge circle lenses and the special effects contact lenses, those are okay for short periods of time, but the white part of your eye is the part that breathes, and if you have that all covered up, your eye can't take in oxygen, which can cause a ton of problems. Eye strain, where your eyes will get tired. Bacteria grows underneath that lens and can cause some serious problems. I've just got off on special effects contacts, but what I'm talking about for that mainly is that if you get bacteria on that eye pencil and you're lining your eye with that, you're subjecting your eye to that bacteria every day, which is very dangerous. So always disinfect. Like if you have eyeliners that you haven't used in a little while, I always spray some alcohol on a tissue and I will roll the eyeliner in there to disinfect it before I use it. So here are some do's and don'ts of makeup storage that will help you prolong the life of your makeup. Do always store your products in a drawer or a cabinet that is keeping it from exposure to light, which can help expedite breaking down of the ingredients. Wash your hands before you use products so you're not contaminating them with the bacteria that is on your hands. Make sure that you always put your cap back on your products nice and tight, because when air gets in there, air contaminates it, and that will help break down the ingredients faster as well. Think about how humidity can affect your products. Like if I have an eyeshadow palette in my bathroom and I'm taking steamy showers all the time, you know, moisture is going to get in there and that will start to break down those products. So I would never recommend storing your makeup in your bathroom if your shower's right in there. Like I know in Arizona and here too, my bathroom, the shower and the toilet are in like a separate room from the bathroom counter, so you could store it in there, but anywhere where it's gonna be really hot and steamy, I wouldn't store your makeup. Don't store them in direct sunlight, because that will expedite you needing to throw them out faster as well. If you've had an eye infection, toss all of that eye makeup out. Don't try to save it, throw it all out, because you will continually contaminate your eye, and that's not like a, oh, maybe, no, that's a definite. Always follow the expiration dates on things like acne medication, Retin-A, sunscreens, the ones that have an exact date stamped on it. Listen to those, because these have chemicals in there. Here's something that most of you will know about me if you watch my skincare videos and things, is I typically never buy things in a jar. I did buy this lotion because it wasn't expensive, that Belief cream that I like, but products in jars, even like this, break down a lot faster because it typically requires you to dip your finger in. So I typically use things like my spatula. I've bought products like this off of Amazon for a few dollars, and that's what I will dip in to get the product out, because you don't want to dip a brush in there. If you've been rubbing it on your face and then touching it back in, it's going to contaminate it. And you don't want to dip your fingers in there either, because your fingers always have bacteria on them. So get something like a spatula if you are going to get a jar product. I know a lot of people like to store some of their skincare in the refrigerator because it feels really refreshing when they spray it on, but actually that will help deteriorate the longevity of your product, because the products are stored and tested at normal room temperature. So when you're putting them in the fridge, it could cause those ingredients to break down faster. It just affects the stability of the ingredients if that's not the intended use and the way that they were meant to be stored. Don't share your products with others. Professional makeup artists definitely have to sanitize and clean their makeup products very often. Very rarely will you see a makeup artist just take like a lipstick and put it right on your lips, or take an eyeliner and put it right on your eyes. You know, they're taking it off with a brush. They're taking the proper steps to ensure they're not cross-contaminating things. So what that would apply to for everyday people is when you're at your girlfriend's house, don't use her eyeliner without, like, if you're going to take it off on a brush, make sure you've sprayed it with alcohol, because you don't need to be sharing that bacteria. I've seen people, I know sometimes I'm guilty of this may sound nasty, but like if I can't get my pen to write sometimes, if I shake it and it doesn't work, I'll lick the end of it just to give it a little moisture, maybe if it's the ball of the pen was dry. Some people do that with makeup. You should never do that. your saliva and other things obviously have bacteria too, but it will break down the products. I've mentioned this a few times too. Never pump your mascara like people that when they unscrew it, they're pumping it back and forth. That's pushing air into the product and that will help dry it out. Something else is if you ever drop your makeup brush or you drop even the lid of your product on the floor, always make sure you clean it and disinfect it before you put it back on, because any bacteria or dirt that is on the top that you put back on will be sealed into your product to let that kind of break down over time. Again, I'm not a medical expert, so please do your research on this. Don't just take my advice. Look up for yourself and pay attention to the expiration dates on your products, guys. Now let's get into how I keep track of what I have behind me, because this is an excessive amount. Obviously, most people, nobody needs this, but this is my hobby. It's what I enjoy, so it's what I do. Now, this is gonna seem like a lot of work, and I can tell you, like my collection, I did not build up overnight. You know, it's been time in the making, definitely, you know, little bits here and there. And so what I did is I'm going to I'm gonna record my desktop screen, and I'm also going to record my iPad or my iPhone screen, just so I can show you how I have it on my mobile device and also how I have it on my desktop. Fortunately for me, I use Mac products, so all the platforms talk to each other. So if I save something on my phone, I now have it on my desktop and my iPad and actually my work phone too. So for me, that is very convenient. If you have something like a Samsung phone, you can definitely download the Windows-based programs for this. I don't know if they would talk with your PC too, but I know with like Office 365 and things like that, they could. But if not, all you'd have to do is email yourself the spreadsheet from your phone to your email, and then you could open it up on your desktop, and then there you go. So on iPhones, I like to use Numbers, and I'm pretty sure now all the phones have Numbers on there. Numbers is the Mac version of Excel, which Excel is a PC platform. On my phone like this, again, I'm going to record the screen so I can show you up close. I keep headers at the top here of all the brands, and I do keep them alphabetical. So like I have Anastasia Beverly Hills, Bare Minerals, Becca, Bobby Brown, Chanel, Dior, Dose of Colors, Hourglass, Inglot, LA Splash, Lime Crime, MAC, Morphe, Motives, Makeup Forever, Makeup Geek, NARS, NYX, OCC, etc., etc. Then on each one of those headers, I have columns for what each line is. So eyeshadows, palettes, liquid lipsticks, dip brow for Anastasia, because I'm right on there right now. I'll have eyeliners. As I get something, my rule of thumb is I will not put it away in my vanity until I've added it in to my list. So what this really comes in handy for is when I'm out at MAC and I see like an eyeshadow, I'm like, oh, I love that. I'm like, do I have that? I can't remember. I can just go right on my phone and go into my MAC tab. And right here, I can sort the column alphabetically, which they tend to be sorted anyway. Right here, and I can scroll down and see like, do I have that eyeshadow? Oh yeah, I do. So I don't double buy something, triple buy, because a lot of times, obviously, if I was attracted to something in the first place to buy it, I'm attracted to it a second time, and I can't always remember exactly what I have, especially when it's like a purple name or something that's like very common. If it's a name, sometimes I'll remember, but not always. That's how I do that, and I will show you on the desktop. You're just starting this out and it's like a crap ton of stuff to type. My recommendation would be to do it on a laptop or a desktop, so you're not having to like take a long time to fill it in on your phone. But like when I go to makeup shows and things, before I even take everything out of the package, I go onto the respective list and I add in like brush numbers. I'm very weird about that too. Pretty much everything. Now there are some things, obviously I don't put everything in here because there are things I know, like Lime Crime. I have every Lime Crime Velveteen, and I know I do, and every new one that comes out, I get it. So to me, there's no really need of keeping that list because I know I have them all. Or something like Jeffree Star. I know that I just have that one velour liquid lipstick, so I don't put them in here. Now, again, it's going to be personal preference, what you're comfortable with that you remember, you know, you have. Something I will do too is if it's like my favorite of something, like Makeup Forever has these lip glosses that I really like, and I don't think they're making them anymore actually, but I'll show you on the spreadsheet, like I put in parentheses like favorite next to it so I can remember, like when I'm shopping, I'm like, oh, which is the one that I like the best? And then I'll know. Okay guys, so here is my desktop version of my spreadsheet, and I'll show you the mobile device in a minute. It's basically looks like the same exact thing, just one slightly smaller. So right here, this is my Anastasia Beverly Hills. Right at the top here, I keep a list of, this is all of the brands. You can scroll over by clicking on that arrow, or if you're on your mobile device, all you do is just swipe side to side. I do keep these alphabetical. I will show you, like if you add a brand, you'd add a brand with this plus right here, and wherever it put, you could just click on it and you just drag them over. So like if you want them in a different order, maybe the makeup that you buy the most, you want those brands in the front, you can certainly do that. So here's an example right here of the eyeshadows. Anything with a star right here, I just know is an individual shadow. So basically what I use this for is when she came out with the individuals, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't repurchasing colors that I already had in the palettes that I had, because I had all of her individual palettes that she did collaborations with other makeup artists. So what I did is I just went through all my palettes and I typed in names of all of the ones I had. And then I just typed in once the name of the palette, and then I just copied it. I did control, copy or control C, and then I highlighted all the spots I went down to, control V, or you just pasted it in there, or you could type, whatever you're comfortable with. And then I sorted these alphabetically, and then it switched these all up to follow them. So that way I know, like right here, I have two glistens. That's because one came in the Maya Mia palette and the other one came in the Amrezi. So there are a few duplicates, like the caramel. There are a few that are duplicates. I just wanted to make sure that I was getting the most bang for my buck, that I wasn't ordering duplicates. I also keep track of the liquid lipsticks I have by her and the dip brow. Now something like Inglot, this brand, I keep track here of the eyeshadows, of what the finish is, what sculpting powders I have for the pigments, because the pigments are very confusing. There's no names, there's just numbers. I have to know what I have here or I will rebuy them. I probably have the most amount of MAC products of any of the makeup I buy, and that was actually what spurred this spreadsheet so I could keep track of what I have. So my eyeshadows are sorted alphabetically, or mostly. It looks like I've added some since and I haven't. But you just highlight the column and then you can go onto the sort and do ascending or descending. The one drawback is if you are using MAC and you're using numbers, even though you try to sort by just one column, it will affect everything that's next to it too, which is fine if you're just doing it quickly to look at what you have. Otherwise, you'll have to copy and paste it into a separate spreadsheet, sort it there, and then bring it back to this spreadsheet to paste in. That's kind of a pain in the butt. In Excel, you don't have to do that. That's where Windows platform is better. You can just sort by the individual column. So here I just have all of the different things that I buy from MAC. I keep which foundation type I have and what color I have. I keep all my brush numbers here. All my skin finishes, blushes, yada, 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 all my pigments. You get the drill. And up here, if you need to add more columns on numbers, you just click on this and it will just keep expanding. I know I've spoke about it a few times on my videos, and I think that's why people have asked. Right here, like Morphe, I find it very confusing to keep track of which brushes I have, so I keep track of the number right here. And like I only have one of their palettes, which is the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. And what I did here was, I don't know if you guys are aware, but even though her palette was limited edition, all she did was pick her favorite Morphe eyeshadows. So all of the shadows are available for individual purchase. If you wanted to put your own palette together, you could just stick it in a Z palette. So right here are all of the numbers of the eyeshadows, and I just have Jaclyn Hill favorites after it, so I know I have them. So say a new palette comes out and a lot of the shadows are the same, I wouldn't get it because I know I already have them, and I want to get the most bang for my buck in makeup. I don't want to have like 3, 4, 5s of something. So like in my Makeup Forever right here, like this needs some love. I need to help my Makeup Forever collection. My eyeshadows, like these are the older formulations that didn't have what kind of finish, like the iridescent or the matte. And here you can see I like this lip liner so much. I have 2 of them. I'll put the X2 next to it. And the lip glosses, like I know the S4. I don't think they're making these anymore, but that's where I showed you. I'd show you like favorites, so I know that that's the one I really like. Makeup Geek, I keep it by eyeshadows, foiled eyeshadows, blush, pigments, eyeliners, the gel ones. That I do the most that really has helped me, and again guys, I know this is going to seem like a lot of work, but again, do whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't take very much time. I'm a fairly fast typer, so like right here, my eyeliners, like you can see here, like this ×2, it means I bought it twice, so I'm like, dope. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen to me sometimes. And like right here, I keep track of the palettes I have by them. Most of my Urban Decay eyeshadows are from palettes. I have very few, I think maybe 5 individual eyeshadows from them. And so right here, when I put what the palettes are, as soon as I get the palettes too, I type in the names of the shadows. Like I just go through and I type in all the names, and then I'll put a dash after it, and I just abbreviate what palette it's from. So like V3 is Vice 3, you know, N1 is Naked 1, N2, Naked 2, etc., down the list here. That way I make sure, like if that new smoky palette that they came out with, like say they have 10 eyeshadows in there or something, and I have 9 of the 10 that are in there, I wouldn't get it because it's going to be a waste of my money. And even though the packaging is pretty, I want to make sure that I'm getting, again, the most bang for my buck in makeup. So it is nice too, if I'm looking for a certain shade, I can just refer to this and say, oh, it's in, you know, the Naked 1 palette, or it's in the Vice 3 palette or something like that. I don't have very many of their lipsticks or lip liners, but that's what I use this for. Okay guys, so here is on my mobile device. It's pretty much exactly the same thing. I just wanted you guys to see. So I'll scroll over. I keep my numbers application in my work folder. So I'm going to open that up. So right here you can see it launched right into it because I was just talking about it. So I had to open. Again, here is my list, my Anastasia Beverly Hills. You know, obviously you can't see as many labels at the top because the screen is a lot smaller than desktop. But you can click on it and see every single thing that you're looking for. So I'm shopping in Mac. I can quickly bring this up and take a look at it. Now, again, this is in numbers, but if you are in Excel, if you're on a PC or a Windows-based phone like an Android, you can use Excel to do this. And I do really enjoy having a cloud-based server, so one thing I save on a device pushes out to all of them. If you don't have that, say you're using Yahoo just on a laptop, or you use a computer at school or something, you can open it up and work on it and then just email it to yourself. And then when you're on your device, you open it up and save the attachment. And most phones, I believe Excel comes with all of them too, or you can go download it if it is a Windows-based phone. And I know Numbers is free for Apple devices. So if you don't have that, you can go online. So in the description bar below, guys, I'm going to leave a link to my Dropbox where I'm going to save this file for you guys to go and download this template if you so choose. It will be saved. I'll save it as a Numbers application for Mac users, and I will save it also as an Excel for people that are using a Windows-based phone. So that's like some serious makeup nerd swag right there. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns that I can help you with, please leave them in the comment section down below and I'll do my best. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.